3 years ago, my fiancée saw a photo of her idealized love interest kissing another woman. Ignoring our fast-approaching wedding, she decisively chased him abroad. She was gone for 1,000 days and nights. 3 years later, she finally returned, but at a class reunion, she flaunted the diamond ring on her hand, telling me not to harbor any foolish hopes. Ethan Shaw willingly donated a kidney for me. I've already agreed to marry him. Our engagement party is the day after tomorrow. If you beg me, I might soften up and save you a seat. My gaze hardened, and I suddenly laughed. No thanks. The day after tomorrow, I have to take my wife for her prenatal checkup. Her fingertips trembled, but the corners of her lips curved into a mocking smile. Who are you trying to fool? You waited 3 years for me, even praying daily at a church for my return. Where did this wife come from? 1. Why would I lie to you? I have no reason to. I hadn't wanted to engage with her at all, but hearing that, I couldn't resist firing back. Don't I know you? You just heard I'm marrying Ethan Shaw, feel upset and are trying to save face, right? Alara Goldwyn, dressed head to toe in designer brands, tilted her chin up slightly. Every gesture radiated nobility and elegance as her alluring figure pressed close to Ethan Shaw. I suggest you give up hope. I've decided to marry Ethan Shaw, and I won't change my mind. Nothing you do will work. Her words made me laugh bitterly. Alara seemed a little too sure of herself. To think she still saw me as that same simp who'd do anything she said. Believing that with just one word from her, I'd forget the past and eagerly try to please her, willing to do anything. Seeing my silence, Ethan Shaw chuckled, trying to ease the tension. Alara, don't talk to Sincere Clark like that. He's already feeling down. Saying that will only make it harder for him to accept. On the surface, he seemed to be defending me, but every word was barbed, dripping with mockery. Seeing I remained unmoved, Alara Goldwyn snorted coldly. He has to accept it whether he likes it or not. He needs to understand clearly, he and I are destined to be worlds apart. No amount of effort will change that. I mentally nodded in agreement. She was right about that. We certainly weren't cut from the same cloth. I take relationships seriously, value commitment. She treats love like a game, changing her mind at will, as fickle as the wind. 3 years ago, she vanished 2 days before our wedding, leaving me utterly humiliated in front of everyone, a laughing stock. Everyone mocked me as the dumped simp, who ended up with nothing despite everything. Thankfully, that's all in the past now. In these 3 years, I've married and had a child. I'd completely forgotten about her. If we hadn't met today, she wouldn't have even crossed my mind. Yes, I have nothing more to say to you two. Carry on with your performance. I have other things to attend to. Ethan Shaw slumped into Alara Goldwyn's arms, clinging tightly to her waist, eyes red and face full of grievance. Sincere. Are you still angry with me? Maybe I should just leave. Seeing Ethan's aggrieved expression, Alara's heart instantly ached for him. She comforted him softly. Why bother with him? You're my fiancé. We're getting engaged soon. That's a fact nobody can change. Saying this, she grasped Ethan's hand and glared at me. He's just bitter because he can't compare to you. Don't worry, as long as I'm here, he won't dare do anything to you. Did you hear me? Ethan is my fiancé now. Know your place from now on. If I find out you've dared to bully him, I absolutely won't let you off the hook. Hearing this, I couldn't help but let out a bitter laugh. I can't believe after all this time your ability to tell right from wrong is still appallingly bad. From the moment we started talking until now, I haven't even spared him a glance. Let alone the fact that whatever you two plan to do has absolutely nothing to do with me, and I don't care. Alara's fine brows furrowed slightly, her gaze towards me filled with ice. Stop pretending, Sincere. You say you don't care, but you waited 3 years for me. Everyone knows you're head over heels in love with me. I looked at this wretched pair standing so close together, my eyes filled with disgust. Alara Goldwyn, let me repeat, I am married. We were never married back then. Who you choose to be with now has nothing to do with me, and you don't need my permission. 2, you said it yourself. Don't go back on your word later. Alara Goldwyn scoffed, turning to link arms with Ethan Shaw, a trace of smugness in her eyes. "Look at how shabbily you're dressed. Life must not be treating you well, huh? If you kneel down right now and admit you still love me, I'll consider forgiving you. Maybe let you be a servant by my side or something." No sooner had she spoken than a classmate informant nearby voiced confusion. "Alara, are you mistaken about something? Sincere Clark is the largest shareholder in Goldwyn Corp now. His assets are worth billions of USD. Ethan Shaw's face changed drastically upon hearing this. He turned to Alara. "What? Isn't Goldwyn Corp your aunt's business? How did Sincere Clark get involved?" Alara, however, seemed completely unfazed. A cold smile touched her lips as she looked at the classmate who spoke. "He told you that, didn't he? Largest shareholder of Goldwyn Corp? You actually believe such ridiculous boasting?" The classmate was taken aback, smiling awkwardly. "No, Sincere Clark married the third Miss of the Goldwyn Corporation, Miss Victoria Goldwyn. After Miss Goldwyn became pregnant, she handed over the management of the corporation to him. Everyone knows this." He was telling the truth, but Alara reacted as if she'd heard the world's biggest joke, her tone sharp and biting. "Don't be ridiculous. Who does my aunt think she is, falling for him? If you said he was desperately simpering after my aunt, maybe I'd reluctantly believe that. I bet Sincere hired you to put on this act you'd really make up anything for money," I sneered inwardly. "Just as expected, she only ever believes what she wants to believe. After graduation, I had promising prospects, but for Alara, I turned down offers from major companies to join the Goldwyn family business. Back then, I always thought Alara and I would love each other for life. But after Ethan Shaw appeared, everything changed. She ignored my devotion, instead hurting me repeatedly due to Ethan's provocations. Until just before our wedding, she saw a photo on social media of Ethan kissing another woman, abandoned me, and left for abroad. Gone for 3 years. When she first disappeared, I was devastated. I couldn't eat or drink, drowned my sorrows daily, felt worse than dead, and even developed severe depression. It was then that I met Victoria. She was only a year older than Alara, yet she radiated incredible intelligence and gentleness. She burst into my life like a savior, pulling me up from the endless abyss. She stayed with me through the darkest times, helped me regain my confidence, and gradually guided me out of the shadows. Later, she married me, regardless of my past status or position, becoming my greatest source of happiness and support. Believe it or not, I think we've made things perfectly clear. Who you marry has nothing to do with me." There was nothing more to say to someone like her. I turned to leave, but Alara blocked my path. I coldly pushed her aside and walked away without looking back, my heart completely unmoved. 10 minutes earlier, I had texted my driver, Arthur Miller, to pick me up. Not wanting another encounter with those two, I waited right at the entrance of the banquet hall. Unexpectedly, Ethan Shaw followed me out alone. He walked up to me, eyebrows raised arrogantly, his tone mocking. "I advise you to stop dreaming. No matter what you do, Alara's heart belongs only to me." I couldn't be bothered with him, didn't even glance his way, just kept playing on my phone. Seeing my indifference, Ethan got annoyed. "You probably don't know this, but Alara has liked me for 8 years. The very night she agreed to be with you, she gave herself to me. When you weren't home, we did it in your bed, on the sofa, in the kitchen, the bathroom, everywhere. Being cheated on by your girlfriend for so many years and still not giving up. Alara called you a simp and she wasn't wrong." Rage ignited within me. My fists clenched tightly as I desperately suppressed the urge to punch him. Seeing my reaction, he lifted his chin provocatively. "What, you want to hit me? Go on, hit me if you dare." His arrogance was infuriating. I raised my clenched fist, but before I could even touch him, Ethan collapsed. The next second, an angry female voice cried out from behind me. "Sincere Clark, what are you doing?" Alara Goldwyn rushed over, helped Ethan up into her arms, and glared fiercely at me. "Ethan kindly came to make peace with you, and you dared to hit him. Are you even human?" Ethan's eyes were red-rimmed as he looked pitifully at Alara, acting as if he'd suffered a terrible injustice. I didn't know Sincere hated me this much. He wouldn't even listen to my apology. I'm sorry, it's all my fault. At these words, the fury in Alara's eyes intensified. She shoved me hard, standing protectively in front of Ethan, looking ready to devour me whole. Sincere Clark apologized to Ethan right now. Looking at Ethan feigning weakness in Alara's arms, I finally understood what a manipulative faker he was. His artificial act was truly something else. Seeing my silence, Alara grew even angrier. Sincere Clark, are you deaf? I told you to apologize to Ethan, didn't you hear me? I sneered, my gaze like daggers. Apologize? Is he worthy? A grown man putting on an act, sniveling like that. Just looking at him disgusts me. Sincere Clark, what nonsense are you spouting? Alara was completely enraged. Just as she was about to say more, a luxury car pulled up in front of us. A well-dressed man with salt and pepper hair stepped out. It was Arthur Miller. Seeing him, Alara instantly dropped her angry expression, replacing it with a fawning smile. Before I could speak, she eagerly called out, Arthur, how did you know I was here? Did Auntie send you to pick me up? Auntie is so good to me, always thinking of me even when she's abroad. Arthur Miller looked slightly surprised, likely not expecting Alara to be there. He glanced at me with a hint of awkwardness, his brow furrowing. Miss Goldwyn, I'm not here for you. I've come to pick up Mr. Clark. For what? Alara looked incredulous, her expression sourer than if she'd swallowed a fly. Arthur, are you mistaken? How could Auntie possibly send you to pick him up? Don't you know, Mr. Clark is Miss Victoria Goldwyn's husband. Hearing this, Alara's face flashed with astonishment. Nonsense, how could Auntie possibly fall for him? After a moment's silence, she suddenly let out a cold laugh, her tone tinged with mockery. I get it. He hired you to act again, didn't he? As a servant of our Goldwyn family, you actually help an outsider put on a show. Wait till I tell Auntie, she'll fire you immediately. Ethan, seeing this, stopped his act and gave me a disdainful look. You should just apologize to Alara sooner rather than later. There's no need to stage such a drama just to save face. If you get exposed later, it'll be too late for regrets. He quickly added, Don't misunderstand, I'm just saying this for your own good. After all, you two were together before, making things too ugly isn't good. I instinctively rolled my eyes at him. Keep your phony goodwill, I don't need it. As soon as I finished speaking, Alara's pent-up anger finally erupted. She pointed at me, her voice sharp. Was Ethan wrong? Do you really think bribing a few people will make me believe you? Playing hard to get won't work on me. I remained unmoved, even finding it somewhat amusing. I hadn't cared about her from the start. She was the one making a fuss. Mr. Miller kindly advised, Miss, everything I said earlier is true. If you keep making a scene like this, once Miss Victoria finds out, it will be too late. Shut up, you have no right to speak here then. She turned her gaze back to me. Auntie is currently abroad on business. She promised she'd be back the day after tomorrow for my engagement party with Ethan. When you have to face my aunt, let's see how you explain this lie. I didn't say anything. Seeing a message from Victoria saying her prenatal checkup for the day after tomorrow was cancelled for now, I smiled calmly. Good. Now I could attend the engagement party and let Alara see just how ridiculous she was being. Seeing I raised no objections, Alara nodded with satisfaction and turned, pulling Ethan back into the banquet hall. For the rest of the time, I didn't see them again until the day of their engagement party. The banquet hall was filled with guests, glittering under the bright lights. I stood in a corner, waiting for Victoria to arrive. Alara spotted me with sharp eyes, sneered, and walked briskly towards me, her gaze piercing. Weren't you supposed to be taking your wife for a checkup? Why did you still come running over? Can't keep up the act, huh? Seeing my silence, Alara's eyes filled with smugness again. Don't blame me for not warning you. When you're exposed later, you'll have to kneel down on the spot and admit you lied. I remained silent, watching her with an amused gaze as if observing a buffoon. Seeing my indifferent expression, Alara was about to speak again when her gaze caught sight of someone entering the doorway. Her expression instantly changed to a fawning smile as she hurried over to greet them. Auntie, you're here. Why didn't you call? I would have met you at the door earlier. Her voice dripped with eagerness to please. Victoria entered gracefully, her eyes sweeping over Alara before finally settling on me. "Hubby, didn't I ask you to wait for me? Why did you come in first?" Alara's face instantly turned pale. "Auntie, what did you just call him?" "Hubby, what's wrong?" 5. "Auntie, is what you're saying true?" Alara staggered back a step, lips trembling, staring at us in disbelief. "Impossible, Auntie, you're lying to me, right? Did he beg you to play along with this act?" Victoria smiled calmly. "Of course it's true. How could I lie to you about this?" Alara shook her head, about to question further, when Ethan approached at some point. He looked suspiciously at Victoria standing beside me, his brow furrowed slightly. He wanted to ask something, but mindful that the auspicious time for the ceremony had arrived, he tugged at Alara's sleeve. "Alara, the ceremony is about to start. Whatever it is, we can talk about it after." The next second, Alara roared, "Get lost, don't bother me." Ethan froze on the spot, momentarily unable to believe his ears. The woman who usually doted on him had just told him to get lost in front of everyone. Ignoring Ethan's face, which had turned green, Alara dragged me aside, her red eyes fixed on me. "Explain yourself, what's going on between you and my aunt?" I shrugged. "It's exactly as you see. She's my wife, and I'm her husband." Likely unable to accept the reality, Alara's voice trembled as she continued to deceive herself. "No, I don't believe it. You two teamed up to deceive me, right? You don't want me to marry Ethan, you can't stand him, so you deliberately staged this whole thing to stop me." Amused by her stubbornness, I said helplessly, "Victoria is pregnant, can't you see?" Hearing this, Alara's gaze shifted to Victoria's visibly pregnant belly, and her heart jolted. "Auntie, are you really carrying Sincere's child?" Victoria linked her arm through mine, looking coldly at Alara before me. "Yes. Could I possibly lie to you about something like this?" This statement seemed to provoke Alara intensely. She clenched her teeth, a crazed look flashing in her eyes. "You knew perfectly well that I was the one Sincere loved. Why did you marry him? And handing Goldwyn Corporation over to him? Aren't you making our Goldwyn family a laughingstock? That's bad enough, but you even got pregnant with his child. How is someone of his background worthy?" She seemed utterly unable to accept it, shouting at the top of her lungs. Victoria reacted as if hearing a joke, letting out a soft scoff. "Whether he's worthy or not isn't for you to decide. The one truly making the Goldwyn family a laughingstock is you, not him. Running off abroad for some random man, what right do you have to blame others?" Alara's face turned livid, her body trembling, but she was speechless. But you can't just steal my husband." I quickly interrupted. "Wait, we weren't married then. Don't talk nonsense here. My real wife is and only is your Aunt Victoria. Besides, Ethan is standing right here, eagerly waiting to get engaged to you. He'll be heartbroken hearing you say that." Alara's eyes widened instantly. "But you clearly went to the church specifically to pray for me. I saw the pictures." I scoffed. "That was me praying for Victoria and Noah, hoping for their safety and well-being, not for you. Didn't you want me to come to the engagement party to prove things? It couldn't be clearer now. Congratulations on your engagement to Ethan Shaw." Alara's body jolted violently. Her lips trembled slightly, her throat tightened, wanting to say something but unable to get the words out. In the end, Ethan managed to pull her away to proceed with the engagement ceremony. Although she was physically present, throughout the entire event, Alara looked completely dazed and distracted. Even during the ring exchange, she carelessly dropped the ring on the floor. Meanwhile, Victoria and I watched the whole spectacle from below, enjoying the show. 6. By the time we returned home after the engagement party, it was already evening. I was lying on the sofa, idly scrolling through my phone, when a few texts from an unknown number popped up. "Sincere, I know you're just jealous, and I know I was wrong to abandon you and go abroad back then. But you absolutely shouldn't have married my aunt just to get back at me. I'm back now. Your anger should have cooled down by now. Let's meet up and talk properly." I coldly read the words, didn't reply a single character, just blocked and deleted the number. Victoria, having finished freshening up, came out drying her semi-wet hair and sat down beside me. If I'd known things would turn out like this today, I shouldn't have agreed to take you. I'm sorry, you had to endure that. That Alara so disrespectful and spoiled, honestly, she needs to be taught a lesson someday. I smiled, took the towel and started helping her dry her hair. Who do you think your husband is? How could I be wronged? It's just tiresome. Hearing this, she turned to look at me seriously. Tell me honestly, do you really have no feelings left for her at all? You were together for so many years after all. Victoria's words instantly pulled my thoughts back to the past. I remembered the year I first met Alara. I was 18. Our relationship wasn't close then, just classmates. She, a rich heiress, me, a poor student. Our paths likely never would have crossed. Until that day when I was working part-time at a bar, some troublemakers picked a fight with me, and I talked back. After my shift, they cornered me in an alley. They beat me half to death. It was Alara who saved me from them and took me to the hospital. When I woke up, I only saw the payment slip with the surname Goldwyn written on it, although I hadn't seen her face clearly. When I heard later at school that Alara had also been at that bar that night, and connecting it with the surname on the slip, I became convinced she was the girl who saved me. From that day on, I started orbiting around her, shamelessly pursuing her relentlessly, doing all sorts of demeaning things, ignoring everyone's mocking stares. After we started dating, I even tolerated her ambiguity with Ethan Shaw, blindly determined to be with her. For love, for Alara, I gave up my dignity, gave up everything. No matter how much pain I felt, I willingly endured it, thinking that one day she would accept me. But looking back now, it seems so pathetic and laughable. Thankfully, I met Victoria. She loves me very much, and I love her very much. She's carrying my child. My life is already perfect, without regrets. My thoughts return to the present. I playfully tapped Victoria's nose. Silly, what are you thinking? From the first day we got married, my heart has belonged completely to you, with no room for anyone else.
My only regret is not meeting you sooner. As for Alara, I only feel disgust towards her now.
Hearing this, Victoria's beautiful lips curved into a smile. That's good. Sometimes I really don't understand why Alara didn't cherish someone as wonderful as you. But then again, in a way, it's thanks to her that you and I are together today. Then her expression suddenly turned serious. Actually, there's something I've never told you. My heart tightened. The next moment I saw her bite her lip and murmur. Actually, the first time we met was 10 years ago. It was at that bar where you worked during college. A guy was harassing me, and you stepped in to help, which caused them to target you. I felt terrible about it, but as a girl alone, there wasn't much I could do then. I plan to thank you properly next time. But when I went back the next day, I saw them cornering you in the alley by the bar entrance and beating you up. I took you to the hospital, intending to wait until you woke up to apologize in person, but unexpectedly my flight abroad was moved up to that same evening. By the time I returned, I found out you were with Alara. I thought fate was playing tricks on us, that we'd never have a chance. But when I learned she had abandoned you and disappeared for another man, I knew my chance had come. So I found you and proposed marriage because I felt I had to protect the man I loved myself. She finished speaking and looked at me cautiously, afraid I might be angry, then quickly lowered her head. Hearing this, my heart ached intensely. So all this time I had mistaken the person I should have truly loved, and I had compromised and suffered for the wrong person for so long. Thankfully, it wasn't too late to know the truth. Thinking this, I pulled Victoria into my arms and held her tightly. Silly girl, how could I blame you? If it weren't for you, I might be a hopeless wreck right now. You saved me twice, and I didn't even know. I should be the one apologizing. She breathed a sigh of relief, looking up at me with a smile, her pupils reflecting only me. Then your punishment is to be good to me, love me, and cherish me forever and ever. I tucked a stray strand of her hair behind her ear and placed a firm kiss on her head. Okay. In that moment, time seemed to stand still, the air thick with the scent of happiness. 7. I had thought that after that day, Alara and I would have no more contact. But just as I was leaving the hospital with Victoria after her checkup, I saw Alara. I hadn't seen her in days. She seemed thinner, her hair somewhat messy, looking like a completely different person from the high and mighty young lady she used to be. She ran over quickly. Seeing me holding Victoria's hand, panic and anger almost bursting from her eyes. Remembering Victoria was pregnant, I asked her to wait while I went over. As soon as I approached, Alara spoke urgently. "Sincere, I've decided not to marry Ethan anymore." I asked dryly, "So? Don't forget, I'm your uncle-in-law now. You don't need to tell me things like this." "No, you have to listen to me." She took a deep breath, a determined glint in her eyes. "I've thought hard these past few days. It really was my fault back then, being too childish, leaving without considering the consequences. I apologize to you." I shook my head, my tone calm. "Forget it. I can't accept your apology. If there's nothing else, I'll be going." Alara quickly grabbed my sleeve, her voice choked with tears. "Sincere, you can't go. I don't believe you've forgotten everything, how much we loved each other. Tell me the truth, marrying Victoria, was there some hidden reason? Did she force you?" Unexpectedly hearing such a line of reasoning, I laughed, infuriated. "Don't be ridiculous. The greatest hardship of my life was knowing you. I love Victoria very much. As for the past you mentioned, it only proves I was blind and loved the wrong person." Alara's face turned pale, tears welling up in her eyes. "Impossible, I don't believe it. You love me. I remember during your proposal you clearly said you'd only ever marry me as your wife. You said it. Sincere, stop acting. This isn't funny at all." "Alara, do you still think I'm acting?" I sighed, genuinely unable to comprehend her thinking. When I poured my heart out to her, she treated me with indifference. Now that I'm with someone else, she suddenly can't accept it. I love her. She is my wife, the woman I will spend my life with. Alara bit her lip hard, her sharp nails digging into her flesh, clearly finding it hard to accept this reality. "I don't believe it. You loved me so much you'd give up anything for me. How could you fall in love with someone else?" I couldn't help but find it amusing. "What? You're allowed to find other men, but I'm not allowed to love someone else? Aren't you being a bit too selfish?" Alara's expression changed, her grip on my clothes tightening. "But you promised you'd only love me your whole life. How can you break your word?" I pried her fingers off my arm, inch by inch, stepping back 3 paces from her. "Those were just words. They don't really mean anything. You, on the other hand, should behave yourself in the future. If you try anything physical again, don't blame me if I'm not polite." Alara froze as if petrified, large tears rolling down her cheeks, her voice gradually fading, filled with endless sorrow. "But the person I love is really you." Hearing Alara's words, I couldn't help but laugh. She could leave for 3 years for Ethan, cutting off all contact, and now she tells me I'm the one she loves. She really knows how to play games with people's emotions. Thinking this, I spoke coldly. "Alara, stop pretending to be deeply in love with me here. Your continued pestering only disgusts me." Seeing she wasn't getting anywhere with me, Alara turned to Victoria and suddenly knelt on the ground with a thud, tears streaming down her face. "Auntie, I'm the one he loves, I beg you. Divorce him, give him back to me." Victoria looked calmly at Alara, unable to help but sigh with disappointment. "Life has been too easy for you all these years. No wonder you've become so self-centered and arrogant. When your mother passed away, she entrusted your care to me. I spoiled you, wanting the best for you, but I never thought I'd indulge you into becoming like this." Victoria's tone was gentle but carried a chilling coldness. "Sincere is my husband now. That's a fact. Accept it if you can. If you can't, there's nothing to be done because you are my niece. I won't hold this against you this time, but if it happens again, I won't be lenient." Hearing this, Alara's face went white, her entire body trembling uncontrollably. Just as she was about to speak, I cut her off. "We've already made things very clear to you. Please don't disturb us again." After saying this, without looking back, I took Victoria's hand and left. Alara, pale-faced, tried to follow, but with a single glance from Victoria, the bodyguards blocked her way. 8. For the next half-month, Alara tried to bother me, but Victoria's bodyguards intercepted her every time. For nearly a month I didn't see Alara again, until one day, about a month later, as I was leaving the office, I saw her standing on a street corner, watching me from afar. Having not seen her for half a month, she had become much more haggard. Her hair was messy and unkempt, her eyes lifeless, bearing no resemblance to the formerly noble and elegant young lady. She saw me looking at her, hesitated for a moment, then finally approached slowly, her voice hoarse. "I just wanted to see you. Sincere. My illness has gotten worse. The doctor said I only have a few years left. I beg you, please just pretend to marry me once, fulfill my last wish." Afraid I'd refuse, she quickly promised, "Just for 1 year. After 1 year, I promise I'll never bother you again." With that, she waited eagerly for my answer, like a beggar. Looking at the pleading expression on her haggard face, I felt not a ripple of emotion. Just as I was about to speak, a male voice interjected. "Alara Goldwyn, so here you are." Turning, I saw it was Ethan Shaw. His brow was tightly furrowed as he quickly walked up to Alara, his voice urgent. "Alara, why have you been avoiding me lately? What did I do wrong? Aren't we already engaged?" Saying this, his eyes widened as he pointed a trembling finger at me. "It's because of this simp, isn't it? He's already married. Why do you still care about him?" "Alara, snap out of it." Ethan's voice was laced with anger and confusion. "You clearly said I was better than him in every way, that he was your dog, always at your beck and call, blindly loyal. What are you doing now?" Unexpectedly hearing him say this, Alara's eyes instantly reddened. She quickly choked out an explanation towards me. "No, Sincere, don't listen to him. None of that was what I truly meant." I took a deep breath and said, word by word, "It doesn't matter anymore. True or false, it has nothing to do with me. I just hope you stop harassing me in the future and, more importantly, stop disturbing my life with Victoria." With that, I turned and walked away without looking back, leaving Alara behind, collapsing into tears on the spot. 9. In the days that followed, Alara truly did stop bothering me. I heard things were going terribly for her. Having offended the powerful Victoria Goldwyn meant facing consequences, even if she wasn't formally disowned. Her father's, Reginald Goldwyn's, company was suppressed to near bankruptcy. Her family blamed her entirely for their misfortune, believing her recklessness caused it all, and kicked her out of the house. Alara called all her friends, but no one was willing to take her in. Suddenly, she had lost absolutely everything and ended up homeless, wandering the streets. Her dignity and former glamorous life were gone. I thought that would be the end of it. Unexpectedly, Ethan Shaw showed up at my door. The last time I saw Ethan, he was dressed in custom suits, lording it over me. But the man before me now was dressed in rags, his cheeks sunken and hollow. I had to look closely for several moments to recognize him. His face was haggard as if he'd been crying. "Sincere Clark, please talk to Alara. Ask her to forgive me. I have nowhere to go now." For years, Ethan had been leeching off Alara, a useless freeloader who knew nothing. Coupled with the lavish lifestyle he'd grown accustomed to by her side, he had developed extravagant spending habits. He simply couldn't readjust to an ordinary life that was worlds apart from his previous one. For him to come to me with this request today, he probably didn't even know Alara had been kicked out of her home, still clinging to a sliver of hope. Seeing him sobbing uncontrollably, I frowned in disgust. What did this have to do with me? "Ethan, how Alara treats you is her business. It has nothing to do with me, and neither does your situation." Seeing my cold attitude and indifferent expression, Ethan's eyes suddenly turned bloodshot as he practically jumped. "How can it have nothing to do with you? It's all because of you that Alara dumped me. Why, when you're already married with a wife, do you keep clinging to Alara?" His voice was hoarse, filled with desperate hysteria, his face contorted with rage, completely devoid of his previous feigned weakness. "She clearly promised to marry me, and now she's suddenly obsessed with you again. What did you do to her?" I folded my arms, calmly listening to his complaints and accusations. What could I possibly do to her? Even if I could, I wouldn't bother. You, on the other hand, besides cheating on Alara while exploiting her love for you, you also lied to her, claiming you donated one of your kidneys to her, causing her to miss the optimal window for treatment. If she found out, do you think she'd still forgive you? Ethan's face went deathly pale, his lips trembling, clearly hitting a nerve. How do you know? I kept that secret very well. Ethan's father was connected to surgeons abroad. He had bribed hospital staff to falsify medical records. He staged a performance to convince Alara the kidney transplant had been successful, thinking his plan was flawless. Little did he know I had already investigated everything thoroughly a year ago. You don't need to worry about how I know. What you should worry about now is how to explain yourself to her. Saying this, I directed my gaze towards Alara, who was hiding nearby. These past few days, Alara had been following me from a distance, and today was no exception. Ethan followed my gaze, and the moment he saw Alara, his expression changed drastically. He was about to say something. The next second, Alara rushed towards him like a madwoman, grabbing him by the collar. Is what he said true? Is it true? Then, without waiting for Ethan's reply, she slapped him hard across the face. Ethan Shaw, why did you lie to me? Why? Ethan stumbled back, falling to the ground. Caught red-handed, he was speechless, deciding to throw caution to the wind. Why? Isn't it because you're gullible and rich? If it weren't for your family fortune, did you really think I wanted to marry you? I figured once you died, all your money would be mine, and then I could find all sorts of women. Who knew you'd be so disappointing, obsessing over that sincere Clark, moping around like you were dying? If I'd known, I wouldn't have bothered with you from the start. He screamed hysterically at Alara, as if venting years of resentment. Even I found his words harsh, let alone Alara. I glanced at her, expecting her to furiously curse Ethan. Instead, Alara was unnervingly calm, a flash of determination in her eyes. Ethan Shaw, you truly disgust me. With that, she suddenly pulled a fruit knife from her pocket and forcefully stabbed it into Ethan's chest. Blood instantly gushed out, staining his shirt red. Ethan clutched his wound, collapsing in front of us all with a look of disbelief. Alara stood frozen, tears blurring her vision, the knife slipping from her hand to the ground. She stumbled back a few steps, trembling, looking towards me, her voice hoarse. Sincere, you knew all along, didn't you? Why didn't you tell me? You let me be deceived. Her eyes were filled with despair and confusion, as if her entire world was collapsing. I paused for a moment. If I had told you, would you have believed me? Alara's eyes were vacant. She shook her head weakly. I don't know. I really don't know. Her voice grew quieter, as if she had lost all strength. Soon the police arrived at the scene. She didn't resist at all and confessed. Before getting into the police car, she looked at me one last time. Sincere, I'm sorry. I was wrong. Tears clung to the corners of her eyes, her voice faint but full of remorse. I know you hate me, and I know I have no right to ask for your forgiveness. But I hope in the next life I can truly be your wife. I said nothing, just silently watched the police leave. After the series of blows, Alara suffered a complete mental breakdown and was transferred from prison to a psychiatric hospital. I heard this news around the time of my son Noah's 100-day celebration. Looking at my son lying in his stroller, I felt completely calm. The people and events of the past, Alara, Ethan, the pain had dissipated like smoke, leaving no trace. Now all I need to do is strive to create a better future for the people I love, Victoria and Noah, and the people who love me. After discovering my fiancée's affair, I booked a wedding escape service for our wedding day. I was determined to abandon her at the altar, to leave behind everything beautiful we once had. My fiancée, Victoria, had no idea. She was still passionately kissing her old flame, watching movies with him, in private screening rooms, even getting hot and heavy with him in his car. Fearing I might suspect something, she'd lie with a straight face. He's a client from a business deal, a childhood friend. We're just really close. I watched it all, a bitter laugh caught in my throat. I silently got rid of the custom-designed ring I had made for her, watching as she blissfully chose her wedding dress. Until the day of the wedding, the agent from the escape service roared up on a motorcycle. Without a moment's hesitation, I got on, leaving her alone at the ceremony, gone like a supplier without a backward glance. When Victoria finally realized what was happening, She lost her mind. My fiancée, Victoria. Sterling wrapped her arms around my neck, nuzzling her head affectionately against my skin. She was on the phone, speaking in fluent Russian, cooing sweetly to the man on the other end, Leo Croft. "Baby, see you at the hotel this afternoon. I've got a new little something to show you." Assuming I was oblivious, Victoria finished her sweet nothings with Leo. In the next second, her face contorted into a mask of exhaustion as she complained to me. "Sincere, this is so exhausting. The Russian client is hounding me for the proposal. I have to go out of town again this afternoon to handle it. I'm so sorry, but I'll have to miss the gallery opening." I lowered my gaze, a wave of revulsion washing over me as I gently pushed her away. "Are you really that busy?" I asked, my heart twisting as if a knife were being dragged through it. Victoria blinked, feigning innocence. "Of course, honey. You know how it is. I've been chasing this deal for over 3 months, but we're getting married soon. I promise I'll have it all wrapped up before the wedding." 3 months. It had been 3 months since her childhood friend, Leo Croft, had returned from overseas. 3 months ago, I first discovered Victoria speaking Russian to another man on the phone while she was in the shower. I heard her whispering flirtatious Russian phrases to him while she lay in bed next to me. She was so confident I couldn't understand, so reckless. But she forgot one thing I told her the day we got together. If she ever betrayed me, I would leave her forever. A video call from Leo lit up Victoria's phone. She faked a tired stretch, said she was going to take a shower, and disappeared into the bathroom with her phone. Watching her excited back, I didn't hesitate any longer. My disappointment had reached its peak. I dialed the number for the bespoke service, the wedding at the Carlton next Wednesday. I'd like to book an extraction service for myself. Get me out of there. Victoria and Leo's games continued, hotter and heavier than ever. She told me she was going on a business trip, then slipped out of the house at 2 a.m., barely dressed. I knew exactly where she was going. I had no intention of stopping her, but my heart still ached as if a piece had been carved out. Suddenly, my phone rang. It was a tabloid photographer, his voice giddy with a sense of triumph. "Mr. Sincere Vance, correct? We've got some photos of your fiancé getting very cozy with another man. Your fiancé naked in a car with him. This is just after you announced your engagement to Miss Sterling. You wouldn't want your reputations tarnished, would you? $1 million for the photos and all the copies. I'll give you a week to think about it, otherwise—" A throb of pain shot through my temples. I hung up. Moments later, a barrage of photos and videos flooded my phone. In the video, the bodies of Leo and Victoria moved together, Jehovah clearly visible. A bitter taste filled my mouth. I got up to get some water, but my legs were unsteady. As I placed the glass on the nightstand, I stumbled, knocking a drawer slightly ajar. A wedding photo of Victoria and Leo Croft stared back at me. "What is this?" My hands trembled as I picked it up. Looking closer, I realized it was a fake novelty marriage certificate she had made herself. On the back, a line of text was written in a lovesick scrawl. "I've loved you since I was 18. Even if I can't marry you for real, I'm so happy I could make it happen in my heart." Even though I knew Victoria had betrayed me time and time again, seeing this testament to her obsession with another man still sent a pang of pain through my chest. My eyes stung, on the verge of tears. "Sincere, I'm so tired. Business has been insane. Sorry to keep you waiting." Victoria suddenly pushed the door open. It was 12:45 a.m. She reeked of alcohol and the scent of Leo. The fake marriage certificate was still trembling in my hand. I turned, and even in the dim light, I immediately saw the delicate, dense pattern of hickeys covering her open collar. A constellation of marks left by another man, as if in direct defiance of me. I pressed my lips into a bitter line, looking up at her with a profound sadness at a loss for words. When Victoria saw the certificate in my hand, her face flashed with anger. "Sincere Vance, how could you go through my things?" she yelled, But then, as if realizing her mistake, her tone softened and the lies began again. Oh, that. It's just a joke. Leo is always playing around with stuff like this. You know he studied abroad, right? He's just got that open-minded, free-spirited European thing going on. He probably didn't think it was a big deal. I watched, a humorless smile on my face, as she effortlessly weaved her web of lies. Victoria moved closer, trying to take my arm, to flirt and be cute, but I was disgusted. I pulled my arm away. She switched tactics. You don't believe me, do you? Fine. I'll introduce you to Leo. Once you meet him, you'll see what a great guy he is. Besides, he's coming to our wedding to wish us well. Sincere, you and I are the ones who are going to be happy together, for the long haul. Victoria's eyes curved into crescents as she spoke those tender words. I glanced down at the hickeys exposed on her skin. Long haul? Too bad. I was done with her. That night, Victoria contacted Leo, speaking Russian again. Baby, my fiancé found that fake marriage certificate I made. He suspects us. I don't want to cut things off with you. You have to help me convince him. Of course, after we're married, you'll still be the one I love. You know how long I've chased you. Don't worry. When you find someone you truly love and don't need me anymore, then I'll leave you and go be a good wife to Sincere. So, tomorrow? The three of us can have dinner? Lying beside Victoria, I listened to the web of deceit she was so carefully weaving for my benefit. My fingers dug into my palms so hard I thought I might draw blood. Being near her was so painful I could barely breathe. Finally, I got up. I have some work to finish up, I said calmly, my back to her, suppressing my anguish. Victoria just nodded distractedly, smiling as she drifted off to sleep, holding her phone. She was still on a voice call with Leo, the two of them, flaunting their affection right in front of my face. I glanced at her, let out a cold snort, and silently tossed the large diamond ring I had originally bought for her into the trash. I packed some of my things and sat on the balcony, chain smoking until dawn. The next day, Victoria was dressed to kill, no doubt for Leo's benefit, as she dragged me to dinner. Sincere, this is my childhood friend I'm always telling you about, Leo Croft. He studied in Russia, so he's used to speaking Russian. Don't be surprised if he mixes it in with his English. Leo shot me a provocative smile and extended his hand. So, you're Victoria's fiancé? I didn't take it. I didn't even acknowledge him. Leo pouted theatrically and began complaining to Victoria in a torrent of Russian. His eyes locked with hers. Vicky, your fiancé is a bit uptight, isn't he? Poor me. I'm just trying to help smooth things over, and he gives me the cold shoulder. Victoria's heart ached for him, and she almost reached out to pat his head instinctively. Catching my eye, she pulled her hand back mid-air and turned on me. Sincere, what is your problem? I told you. Leo is genuinely happy for us. Why are you acting like this? My mouth opened, and I almost exposed all her lies right then and there. But I remembered my plan for the wedding. I closed my eyes, briefly touched Leo's hand as a token of peace, and swallowed it all. During dinner, a breeze blew a napkin off my side of the table. As I bent to pick it up, I saw Victoria under the table, running the tip of her stiletto up and down Leo's calf. And Leo, just as shamelessly, had his hand on her ankle, his fingers playing with her skin. Above the table they were the picture of calm. Below, a storm of secret, thrilling touches. I laughed inwardly, shifting my gaze back to the steak fattori of me. Victoria tilted her head, her mind on the wedding. Sincere, I still haven't picked out my dress. I know you're busy, and Leo is free. So, why don't you go handle your work, and Leo and I will go pick one out. See? Aren't I good to you? So thoughtful, right? I had to bite down hard on my back teeth to stop myself from screaming. I just nodded. She eagerly pulled Leo to his feet, and they left. However sweet and lovey-dovey they were at the bridal shop, I was equally efficient in packing my bags, burning our photos together, and throwing out every couple's item we owned. Being with her old flame must have made Victoria euphoric. After gleefully picking out a dress, she wasn't satisfied. She called me. "Sincere, we're about to get married. You're smarter and more capable than me, so I'll leave the wedding planning to you. It's a big job, but I know you can handle it. I'm going to have one last bachelorette party with my girlfriends. Let me say a proper goodbye to my youth." "Okay," I replied. At 4 a.m. I got a call from her, slurring her words, saying she'd had too much to drink and needed a ride. I arrived and paused outside the door of the private room, the sounds of laughter spilling out. "Victoria, you're so bold. You come straight here after a session with Leo and call Sincere to pick you up. Is he really okay with that?" Victoria's voice was smug and certain. "Sincere is completely in love with me. Of course he's okay with it. If you guys don't say anything, who's going to know I was just with Leo?" Another one of her friends giggled. "You're one of a kind. But Sincere is so good to you. What if he finds out one day? That would be a disaster." Victoria's smile faded slightly. "As long as you all keep my secret, Sincere will never find out." Her friends erupted in laughter. I stood frozen at the door, my hand hovering over the handle. Suddenly I had no desire to go in. So that was it. Everyone knew Victoria was cheating on me with Leo. They had all chosen to keep me, and only me, in the dark. A sad smile touched my lips. I turned and walked away, sending Victoria a text. "Sorry, the wedding is tomorrow and I'm swamped. Get a cab." Victoria was probably furious. After a long pause, a single okay came back. On the day of the wedding, she was missing. "Sincere, the ceremony starts in half an hour. Where's the bride?" The wedding planner ran up to me, frantic. I glanced at the time, then at the last okay from Victoria in our chat. I had no idea what game she was playing now, but it didn't matter. This was never going to be a real wedding anyway. I'd rather have the girl from the escape service play the part of my bride. I pulled out my phone to adjust the service, but just then Victoria appeared, her face flushed, her wedding dress slightly disheveled. I could see them instantly, the fresh hickeys on her neck and collarbones, clear as day. "Sincere, I'm so sorry. I had to go fulfill a small personal wish, so I'm a little late, but I made it back. We can be together now." I narrowed my eyes, her words pulling me back. It didn't take long to figure out what her small, personal wish was. If I remembered correctly, the fake marriage certificate had a line about it, "Victoria. Sterling must give her most precious self to Leo Croft before she gets married. Only Leo is worthy of having all of Victoria's sterling." My gaze swept over the intimate marks on her body again. I remembered what she'd said to her friends last night about being with Leo. Now, looking at her slightly rumpled dress, it was obvious what she'd been doing during her disappearance. I looked at the still blushing, coy Victoria and just smiled, saying nothing. She extended her hand to me, her expression full of emotion. She picked up the microphone and began to tearfully recount our history. "Sincere is the person who has been with me the longest. Whenever I faced any hardship, he was always there to shield me. I, Victoria Sterling, swear to love only Sincere Vance. He has been so good to me for so many years. From now on, it's my turn to be good to him. Sincere, I'm about to marry you. I'm so excited. Sincere, will you marry me and be good to me for the rest of our lives?" Victoria was crying a river of beautiful tears as she held the microphone to my lips. Before I could finish, the large screen behind the stage flickered to life. A man in a surgical mask, the tabloid photographer, stood up from the crowd, a vengeful glee in his eyes. He rushed towards the stage, shouting, "Time's up, you didn't buy the photos, so I guess I'll just have to share them with everyone." A slideshow of photos and videos of Leo and Victoria entangled began to play on a loop. Gasps rippled through the audience. The once delicate Victoria turned deathly pale, shaking her head frantically at me. "It's not real, Sincere. It's not real. It's fake. Who would do this to me, sabotage my wedding?" She lunged toward me. I just smiled coolly, leaned into the microphone, and answered her earlier question. I don't. The next second, a woman in a wedding dress, astride a roaring motorcycle, burst into the venue. Sincere Vance, I can't let you go. I heard you were getting married, but instead of marrying a woman who deceives you with sweet lies, why not choose me again, right now? Elope with me. I promise I'll be good to you. Victoria stared in shock at the newcomer, her legs giving way as she collapsed to the floor. Sincere, you wouldn't leave me. You wouldn't just leave like this. I coldly pried Victoria's fingers from my arm, strode forward without a second thought, and swung myself onto the back of the motorcycle, a liberating smile spreading across my face. Okay, I choose you. The wedding escape service was impressively effective. The woman in the helmet and wedding dress, playing the part of my ex-girlfriend, she gunned the engine, letting the wind whip through her hair and the fabric of her dress as we sped away. Sitting behind her, I watched a black Mercedes give chase in the distance. I watched as my agent expertly weaved through traffic, taking sharp, unpredictable turns until she finally shook them and brought me to a clearing in the countryside. Thanks. We finally stopped, panting. We sat down in a green, open field. The agent pulled off her helmet, and I turned and instantly recognized her. Chloe? Chloe Summers? What are you doing here? Chloe winked playfully, tilting her head and shaking out her hair. Why can't it be me? You should really think about it. In this day and age, who else would offer you a wedding escape service besides me? My chaotic mind suddenly cleared. I remembered that the whole reason I discovered Victoria's affair was because of photos sent from an anonymous account. The photos were immediately followed by a small digital business card. Wedding escape services ditched the cheater. And that's what set this whole chain of events in motion. It all clicked. I rubbed my forehead, a helpless, bitter smile on my face. So, you did all this to get revenge on Victoria? Well, either way you helped me, so thank you. Before I could finish, Chloe held up a hand to stop me, her brow furrowed. Wait a minute, who said I did this for revenge on Victoria? Sincere, you big idiot. Couldn't it be that I couldn't stand to see you being messed around by that girl? That I like you, that I've always been in love with you, and that's why I was willing to do all this? Meeting Chloe's gaze, her eyes faintly red, I was suddenly speechless. Ever since college, Chloe and Victoria had been mortal enemies. Back then, her stepfather was abusive, and she was so broke she couldn't afford to eat. I felt sorry for her and helped her through a tough time. Later, Chloe started working part-time, then launched her own business. But she never forgot me. She was always grateful, always sending me little gifts. Chloe was always smiling at me, except for once. When she found out I was with Victoria, she stormed up to me and begged us to break up. We had a huge fight about it. Victoria is a total player. You're so sincere, she's going to chew you up and spit you out. Back then, I only had eyes for Victoria. And Victoria, curled up in my arms, was crying pitifully. Sincere, I don't know what I did to make Chloe hate me so much. Maybe I shouldn't be with you. I was so angry I was ready to cut off my friendship with Chloe right then and there. Chloe cried too. She nodded fiercely, turned, and left, and true to her word, she never contacted me again. After all these years, to meet again like this, her words having become a prophecy, and I had been pulled back from the brink by Chloe yet again. Thinking about the past, I had to laugh at my own naive, foolish youth, my terrible judgment. I teased her gently. All right, I get it. You were worried about your old friend. I'm seriously grateful you pulled me out of that mess, saved me from wasting the rest of my life. What about you? How have you been all these years? Chloe's expression turned serious. She leaned in close, staring at me, and said, word by word, I haven't dated. I haven't gotten married all these years I've been waiting for you. I don't know if it was my imagination, but for a split second, I felt my body temperature spike, like I was about to evaporate. A drum was beating wildly in my chest. my fingers, resting on the ground, curled involuntarily, digging into my palms. Thankfully, her phone rang. She had to deal with one of her projects. She dropped me off at a nearby hotel, got me checked in, and then left. I lay on the bed, the bright lights overhead swimming in my vision. My 7-year relationship gone in a flash. My surreal fantasy-like wedding. It still felt like a dream. I hadn't been resting for long when a sharp knock, knock, knock came from the door. I got up to open it. Sincere, I finally found you. I'm here to explain. Those photos and videos at the wedding, they were all fake. Think about it. We were together for so many years. I was about to marry you. Why would I be so stupid as to cheat? Victoria looked like she hadn't slept, her eyes dark and sunken, her face haggard. She immediately tried to grab my arm, desperate to prove her innocence. She always used these tricks, these methods. She thought if she cried her pretty, pitiful tears, I would drop everything and run back to her. And she was right. That's how it used to be. But I didn't love her anymore. All her supposedly clever tactics were now useless. I took a step back, creating distance, crossing my arms and raising an eyebrow. A misunderstanding? Victoria, it seemed, still hadn't grasped that I had truly abandoned her. She bit her lower lip, playing the victim. Yes, you misunderstood me. I'm the one who loves you most. Do you have any idea, when you left me alone at the wedding, how humiliated and embarrassed I was? How many people laughed at me? Sincere, Vance, you owe me an apology. Her shamelessness was giving me a headache. I had reached my limit. I decided to rip the mask Pedro's her lies. Victoria, you're still lying to me even now, by the way. I guess you didn't know. I understand Russian. I always have. I understood every word you and Leo said to each other. Business, work, clients, childhood friends. You two seemed pretty fluent when you were flirting, didn't you? Victoria's body went rigid. She forced a smile, her face flushing crimson. Clearly, it had never occurred to her I knew the truth all along, but she recovered quickly. She was nothing if not adaptable. She dropped to her knees and started slapping her own face, hard. Sincere, I was out of my mind. It was a moment of weakness. I swear it will never happen again. You know my position at the company isn't low. For people like us, it's just playing around. Don't take it seriously. You're the one I want to spend my life with. My perfect match. Victoria slapped herself face again and again. I watched her, my expression cold, not moving to stop her. Victoria, nice words. Of course you're willing to commit to me for life, but aren't you also willing to keep loving Leo Croft forever? You're the one who said it. You'd only be a good wife to me after he found someone he truly loved. Too bad. You played your cards well, but I have no intention of picking up your hand. Go have a nice life with Leo. I moved to show her out, but Victoria refused to budge. She stayed on her knees, shaking her head frantically, trying to win me back. I'm sorry, Sincere, please forgive me this one time. I know I was wrong. I'm begging you. Come back to me. I called hotel security. Just then, Chloe returned from her meeting and came face to face with Victoria. Sincere, the woman from the wedding escape, the one you chose, it was her? Victoria stared at Chloe in disbelief. She pointed a contemptuous finger at her, her words dripping with scorn. She's not as tall as me, she doesn't have my figure. She was a nobody with bad grades in college. I doubt she's doing any better now. Sincere, why worry about your future with this woman? Come back to me. I promise I won't mess around with anyone else ever again. We can get married again, start a happy little family. As she spoke, Victoria moved to take my hand. Chloe stepped in front of me, looking at Victoria with an exasperated expression, and arched an eyebrow. You're pathetic. Which one of your eyes sees me as not doing well? Since you're so curious, security at Chloe's soft call, every security guard on the floor fort gathered at the door. Miss Summers, your orders? The head of security asked, bowing respectfully to Chloe. Chloe smiled at the astonished Victoria and gestured. Please escort this uninvited guest out of the hotel. And while you're at it, conduct a thorough internal investigation. I want to know who leaked my fiancé's location." Chloe turned her head to look at me, extending her hand. I followed her lead, placing my hand in hers and gripping it tightly. Seeing this, Victoria's eyes turned red. She opened her mouth to say something else. Too late. She was already being swiftly escorted away. The room was quiet again. Chloe looked down at my hand holding hers, a blush creeping up her cheeks. Her voice had lost all the sharpness it had when she was defending me. She looked down, bit her lip, and her tone softened. "Victoria's gone. Sincere. You don't have to keep holding my hand just to spite her." I turned to look at Chloe, and a sudden impulse to tease her came over me. I nodded Giavo. "Oh, okay, then I'll let go." A flash of disappointment crossed Chloe's face. She nodded, trying to act casual, and turned to leave. I chuckled, tightened my grip on her hand, and pulled her back. "I wasn't holding your hand to spite her." Chloe froze, her face blank. She looked up suddenly. "Sincere, you mean you—" Her shocked expression was unexpectedly adorable. I laughed along with her. "Thank you for protecting me time and time again, for waiting for me for so many years. I didn't get to finish." Chloe was already blushing so hard her head looked like it was about to steam. She violently pulled her hand away and scrambled for the door. "Sincere, I get it. I'm so happy. I think my heart is going to explode. I'm just going to go calm down. See you next time." She rushed the words out, and by the time they were spoken, she had vanished through the doorway. I never expected Victoria to be so persistent. The next day she showed up at my company's building with a trunk full of roses and a grand public display. "Sincere, I was wrong. You did so much for me, you worked so hard to be with me, and I treated you like that." I squinted at Victoria in the distance, theatrically trembling and crying, lost in her own self-pity. A wave of indescribable disgust washed over me. But the people around me didn't know the story. They stopped, staring at the seemingly lovesick Victoria, and began to murmur in awe. "Wow, she's so devoted. She's trying to win back Mr. Vance. All those roses must have cost a fortune. And there are banners, too. What do they say? Hey, that one says, 'Victoria Sterling loves only Sincere Vance, happily ever after.' Look, there's another one. 'Sincere Vance, marry me, you're the only one I want to marry.' Oh my God, such a passionate love." I listened to the whispers around me, my expression blank. I walked towards Victoria. "Don't waste your time. There is no future for us." Victoria wiped a tear from the corner of her eye, preparing to continue her act of deep affection. "Sincere, do you remember in school you said you would always be by my side, that you would take care of everything for me? I'll never forget the way you stood in front of me to protect me. I remember how you ran through the rain to bring me dinner, even when you had a fever. I really do love you. I was wrong before. I pushed you away with my own hands. Now I want to give everything for you. I want to bravely win you back, to make you feel my love for you." Victoria's voice trembled. With great reverence, she took a ring out of her pocket. She dropped to one knee without warning, looking up at me with a deeply emotional gaze. "Sincere Vance, marry me. Come back to me. I love you." The moment Victoria finished her proposal, clueless onlookers started cheering. "Get together. Get together. Hey, wasn't Mr. Vance just talking about getting married? So, is this his wife-to-be? That's so romantic, such a public display of love. Mr. Vance must love her so much." My hands were shoved in my pockets. I frowned and glanced at Victoria. "Victoria, stop the theatrics. You only remember that I promised to always protect you. But did you forget? I also said that if you ever betrayed me, I would leave you forever." Victoria shook her head, unwilling to give up, looking pitiful and ready to cling on. Chloe, who seemed to be dropping off a small cake for me, saw the scene and immediately pushed through the crowd. Without a word, she affectionately linked her arm with mine. "Honey, Why is this homewrecker, the one with the boy toy product on the side, shamelessly bothering you again? Oh, I get it. The other guy was just playing with her, and she's smart enough to know that, for a husband, she needs someone excellent and reliable like you. So now she's willing to be a homewrecker, to throw herself at you, even if it means ruining our marriage? Chloe clung to my arm affectionately. I naturally wrapped my arm around her shoulder. The crowd was already stunned by her words. I nodded with a look of mock distress, confirming, yeah, pretty much. Now the cheerleaders all sucked in a collective breath. Victoria's face darkened. She clenched her fists, her expression full of hatred. Her phone rang. It was Leo. Victoria, my mom is nagging me to bring a girlfriend home to meet her. Aren't you madly in love with me? You're not getting Sincere Vance back anytime soon. So come over here and do me a favor. Leo's voice, like he was ordering a dog around, came through the phone. Victoria's face flushed with shame and anger. She licked her lips, but before she could even reply, he had already hung up. Sincere, I haven't contacted him since our wedding day, I swear. I waved a dismissive hand at her. It's fine. Weren't your promises in Russian just as good? You said you'd always love Leo, until he found someone he truly loved. So stop pretending you can't live without me, and go be with him. I turned, ready to leave with Chloe. Hearing my words, Victoria looked as if she had suffered a great injustice. She clenched her fists, turned, and threw herself head first against the trunk of her car, shouting, "Fine, Sincere, you still don't believe that you were the only one in my heart. What's the point of living? I might as well just die." Victoria slammed her head against the car without hesitation. By the time I whipped my head around, she was already bleeding from the head, collapsing to the ground with tears streaming down her face. As she fell, she reached for me pathetically. "Sincere, you wouldn't leave me. You love me most. You will come back to me." The scene descended into chaos. We couldn't just let someone die. Chloe and I exchanged a helpless look. We rushed to get her to the hospital. I don't know if Victoria had actually fainted or was faking it. The entire way she clutched the corner of my jacket. No matter what, she wouldn't let go. After the doctor confirmed she wasn't in any serious danger, Chloe and I were about to leave. But Victoria emerged, weakly holding onto the wall, looking triumphant. She was clutching a report in her hand, her eyes tearful, her voice trembling as she called out to me urgently. "Sincere," she shouted, and Chloe and I both turned back. "I'm pregnant, with your child. Last month, 4th week, Friday night. You haven't forgotten, have you?" Victoria looked down at her soft belly. Her gaze was motherly, and she reached out to gently stroke it, so happy that a small laugh escaped her lips. A throb of pain shot through my temples. Last month? 4th week, Friday night, the night she stripped naked to be with me. Beside me, Chloe's body went stiff. Her hand in mine turned ice cold. I glanced at her from the corner of my eye. Her nose was red and she was looking down, forcing a smile that looked like she was about to cry. "Sincere, well, you are the father. Maybe I misread the situation. I'm sorry. You have to go back to her, right?" The atmosphere suddenly became so thick it was hard to breathe. Looking at Chloe's brave face, it wasn't hard to imagine the weight on her heart. I almost had to laugh at Victoria's audacity. I crossed my arms and walked up to her. I questioned her, "Are you sure the baby is mine?" Victoria was completely confident, thinking of the night she had just mentioned. Her face was a mask of smug triumph. "Of course. That night I held up a hand to stop her, cutting her off. "Stop. Who was with you that night? We didn't sleep together at all. You were drunk, yes, and you did take off all your clothes, but your body was covered in hickeys from Leo, and you kept calling out his name in your sleep. I'm not deaf, and I'm not blind. You think I would force myself to sleep with you while feeling that disgusted?" I left and spent the entire night at the office, working with a colleague. Victoria's face turned pale, the smile freezing on her lips. She still looked like she couldn't believe it. I was exhausted from her games. I shrugged, giving her one last warning. I'd advise you to get your act together and stop bothering me. I already have someone I love. The bride will never be you. I pulled Chloe tightly into my arms. Victoria finally looked like her world had crumbled. She staggered and fell to the floor. She sobbed uncontrollably. And Chloe, hearing the truth, let out a long, relieved breath. As we walked out of the hospital together, Chloe seemed to be replaying my words in her head. So, you're sure you love me too? She looked up, her eyes full of hope. Looking at her, my heart melted. The spring sun was beautiful, and here was someone whose heart and eyes were full of me, asking me a question as adorable as a little bear. I couldn't help but pat her on the head. I repeated myself, I'm sure, I love you, very, very much. After I warned Victoria off that last time, she didn't bother me again, but her mother started calling me constantly, her words always circling back to the same point. I should forgive Victoria. She's still young. It's normal for her to be confused about who she loves most. It's really that wolf Leo Croft's fault. After all, our Vicky chased him for over a decade. It's only natural she fell for him. You should be more understanding. Sincere. Leo isn't even speaking to our Vicky anymore. Vicky's depressed. The one who loves her, she can't keep, and the one she loves doesn't love her back. No, listen to me. What I mean to say is, you are her soulmate. Are you sure you won't reconsider our Vicky? Let's just forget the embarrassment of the last wedding. Vicky can't lose you. They were as annoying as a stubborn rash. I blocked all their numbers and social media accounts, but Victoria and her family somehow managed to track down our mutual friends and get in touch with me again. Stop, I said, cutting off our friend Michael, who had been reluctantly sent to persuade me. I handed him an invitation. I'm getting married. I'm taking my love to Northern Ireland. We're planning a 3-month honeymoon. We're going to travel, see the world. Just be sweet and happy for a while. The wedding, you can come if you want. If you don't, I won't force you. Michael looked at the invitation and let out a long sigh. He looked at me and Chloe and said we were a perfect match. I'm sure he told Victoria the news as soon as he left. I heard that Victoria had a complete breakdown, and one night, in a state of mental distress, she drowned herself. But none of that had anything to do with me. The person I love most is right beside me. The best time is right now. I took Chloe's hand, and we set off on our journey towards our own true beautiful life. The end.